7:07. Let's call the meeting to order and pass it over to David McCarthy, our brand newly minted Executive Director. Take it away, David.
Thank you. I am sharing my screen now so I can launch our slides.
I'm sure it'll be fine as long as you cook it. We're not having any poultry sushi? No.
Okay.
Ask everybody to mute themselves.
Can everyone hear me out there in Cyberland?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 56th annual meeting of the Wilton Land Conservation Trust. Thank you for joining us. Feels weird saying that in my room all by myself here, but nonetheless, I've turned off my video so I can share my screen. And I just want to let everyone know that we've started a little late, just let people pile in. I want to be respectful of people's times. I know we said the meeting would adjourn at 8, but it looks like because we started a little late, we might push a little past 8. Feel free to hop off at 8 if you still need to. If not, we'll be hanging in there. So my name is David McCarthy. I'm the Executive Director, and I just want to let you all know it's an honor to be here. At the Land Trust, we're only able to do what we do really because of you. We have incredible and generous members and volunteers, and I'm really proud of what we've accomplished together in 2020. And we're all excited to share those milestones with you here tonight. We have a very full and exciting agenda for you all, so let's get started. I'd like to formally announce and congratulate our new executive officers, Steve White as President, Craig Johnson as Vice President, Roger Volkenberg as Vice President, Mark Rice as Secretary, and Mike Foster continues on as Treasurer. Congratulations, everyone, and I'm really looking forward to working with you in 2021.
I hope everybody on this call knows who we are. I think you see the names on the screen, but it's important that you recognize who we all are and what we're doing.
Over to some housekeeping. I just want to let you all know this meeting is being recorded. All of you are hopefully muted, but feel free to unmute during Q&A sessions. And outside of that, enjoy. So over the course of the evening, you're going to hear from our president, executive officers, and toward the end, I'll give my executive director's report. Each speaker will provide a short opportunity for Q&A after their sessions, but please be mindful that we have a full agenda and only about an hour with all of you. So first order of business, you, the members, will vote to re-elect returning trustees. Our newly elected secretary, Mark Rice, will take it from here.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Mark Rice, and I'm very much looking forward to serving at least the next year as secretary of the Wilton Conservation Land Trust. So anyways, the 4-year terms for trustee and president Stephen H. White and for trustee Brett Amaro have expired, and they have agreed to serve another 4 years. Is there a motion to approve the election of Mr. White and Mr. Amaro for new 4-year terms as trustee?
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Okay. 35, I hope. Opposed? So moved. Congratulations to Steve and to Brett for another 4 years.
Yes, congratulations, and thank you, Mark. Moving on to our next order of business, we'll hear from our newly elected president and newly elected trustee, Steve White. Take it away, Steve.
All right, thanks, David.
I'm
Could
gonna stop sharing, right?
Yes, please. Okay, so I don't have any slides, so I just wanted to say hello. It's really terrific to see so many friends out there and people we haven't seen for a while. This is really a fun part of the meeting. So welcome to our annual meeting. We are glad to have you here with us. So I want to start with why are we here at the Land Trust meeting? Well, I think we're all here because we all support the Land Trust mission of preserving open spaces in Wilton. Otherwise, why would we be here? We take the long view that protecting open space is important and needs to be planned, financed, and implemented. After the recession, 2007 and 8, people walked away from towns like Wilton. Larger properties and open space lost some favor in favor of people wanted to walk to the coffee shop. But during the pandemic, people have rediscovered the need for open space, in their homes and their towns. They want space with fresh, clean air and visual space. They want a place to walk. And we've seen a lot of walkers around the last year. Few people would ever ask, why do you have a central park? Well, the reason why you have a central park is because if you don't build Central Park at the right time, it gets developed and you're never going to get it back. We need to plan for the next generation and the generation after that. So we at the Land Trust are trying to reinvent ourselves. We are trying to grow our membership. I think our enthusiasm for the Land Trust is beginning to really accelerate. We want to encourage our membership to grow because we need to engage more with the community. And the more members we have, the more engagement we have. We need people to support our mission. The more, the merrier. We need people with energy to execute the mission. And we need the resources to fund it. We need all kinds of help with systems and land and clearing and administrative work. And we need stewards to take care of our properties. So we have a great program this evening. I don't want to tie it all up with words of wisdom because I don't have that many, but thank you all for being here. And I want to pass it over to our next program, which is the Building Committee.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Very well said. I am attempting now to share my desktop to relaunch the slideshow.
And as Dave is doing that, I'll get us started. Hi, everybody. This is Rob Solman. Toward the end of last year, given the importance of what we're doing at 183, we decided to create a barn building committee to oversee the building of the antique barn at 183. Mike Foster and Mark Rice and I make up that team. We'd like to just spend a few minutes bringing you up to date on the work we've been doing. First, just a little bit of background. The barn we are constructing was a gift from Daniel Offit, whose picture you see here. The charitable trust that he set up upon his death in 2016 has been making a number of contributions to various Fairfield County nonprofits, and we have been a beneficiary of that. Offit, as some of you may know, lived in Weston for over 30 years. He was professionally, he was a stock trader, must have done quite well. And so we have been given a barn on his property, which we took down and moved to 183. And in addition to that, the Offit Trust also donated $300,000 to help us defray the construction of the barn at 183. Along with that came a commitment that we made that we would name the structure after Offit. You can see here that it's a nice size for the purpose we have in mind for it. It's 900 square feet. It's I would say it's going to support some of the educational programs and activities that Mike will talk about in a few minutes. And importantly, the barn will not only be a centerpiece at 183, but it will very much be a centerpiece for the Land Trust. So what have we been up to? You can see here that we have engaged Rob Sanders as our architect to design the barn. You'll see the blueprints in a minute or two. Rob is a specialist in working with these kinds of structures, either connected to homes or freestanding. Just after the holidays, we broke ground on the foundation, which is now complete, and it's awaiting the framing, and we're very close to beginning that work as well. We're in the process of putting in the foundation. We regraded the area around the barn and around the original residence, and you see that in the lower left here. And as a result of that, it really opens up very nicely the view of the property from the road. It's been regraded in a way where it's leveled a bit the slope down to the road from the residence, now from the barn site, and it really opens up the property very nicely. The finished barn we thought might interest you. We'll have a natural exterior, and we're going to paint the trim in sort of a warm putty color. So it'll be really attractive, and it'll have a metal roof, and the foundation will be faced in stone. David, if you flip to the next slide. Here's what we're building, and you can see here on the upper left, the north elevation where you see these casement windows is the view you will see of the barn when you are driving south on Ridgefield Road. Just below that, the south elevation with the sliding doors and the entranceway to the left of that will face the south, and so you'll see that's the view you'll see as you're driving north on Ridgefield Road, and the view you'll have as you drive into the property and the parking area. It'll face the parking area. To the right of that, the west elevation, which has another set of sliding doors, will face the interior of the property, and a nice, beautiful stone wall that sort of parades out into the back of the property. Really nice large series of large trees that were planted in sequence in back of that as well. So a great view, and you'll see the combination of the two sliding doors. When those are open, it'll have a nice, breezeway throughout the barn. On the upper right, and this is more about phase two than what we're doing right now, we will have space for the office of the executive director. So David will be able to work out of the building, and we'll have two bathrooms, for the various activities, to accommodate the various activities we'll have in the site. And it's going to be a really lovely space, and a nice addition to the town, and something exciting for people to see as they drive by and as we use in the community. So I'll pause there for any questions you might have before we talk about what we're going to be doing at the site using the barn. Are there any questions for anyone? Okay, David, you want to advance? Mike, you're going to jump in?
Sure, thank you. And while I have the floor, it sounds like someone's got some background noises. If you're not speaking or intend to, please mute your microphone for the time being.
That went away. So these are the three partners that are going to be working with us at 183. I think all of you or most of you know this already, but just to reiterate, we need to have educational programs at 183. It was one of the prerequisites for our angel donor, the Bowers. So we're going to have the Wilton Historical Society will be rolling out a program for in their educational series, and starting out with a flax field for their flax to, I call it flax to shirt program. I'm sure that doesn't describe it properly, but that's what it is. Then the Woodcock Nature Center is going to be developing a upland meadow curriculum for their school kids that they deal with. And then the American Chestnut Foundation, we're going to be planting a seed grove. As you look at the site, on the right-hand side, there's a bit of a rectangular area kind of demised off by the stone wall, and we're going to be putting a chestnut seed field there with the American Chestnut Foundation, and this is related to continuing to provide blight-resistant American chestnuts to reestablish them here in Fairfield County, and in particular in Wilton. We're kind of excited about this. We may end up with a Wilton variant of the blight-resistant American chestnut tree. So we did want to make sure that everybody understands that we're working together with these 3 other organizations.
David, back to you.
Yes. Thank you, Rob, Mark, Mike. This is amazing work. I'm so happy we had an opportunity to share this with our members and our friends. So unless anyone has any questions, we can move on to the next order of business. Okay. Next, we'll hear from our recently re-elected treasurer, Mike Foster. Take it away, Mike.
Okay, you can advance. So, in summary, before I get into all the bullets, the Wilton Land Conservation Trust has never been in better fiscal health, and it has never had as strong a balance sheet in its history. We continue to get increasing donations since our low point in 2016, and 183 has certainly put us on the map. If you could go to the next slide, David. Just so everybody understands what has happened here in 183, which has been the major, financial enterprise for the last 3 years. We closed on the purchase of 183 in March of 2020, which is of course a landmark event. We raised over 1.6 million donations for the purchase of 183 from 130 donors, and we got a grant award of $707,000. So this is what made this all happen. It all started out with a very, very, very early commitment from the Bauer family, which I would refer to as an angel donation of $750,000. And then I don't want to go unmentioned the generosity of the Fieber family, who ended up selling it to us at a price that was quite much less than what they had in it, but was very much in the spirit of trying to conserve it and preserve it in the end. And then last but not least, all of you, we have 130 donors who contributed to this purchase. All of you on this call were this significant in helping to make this happen. So I thank you all. We all thank you all of the trustees. Next slide, please. 183 is technically 5 parcels. I'm not going to get into it, but I thought everybody would be interested in understanding the scope of the trust. We currently have 119 parcels and over 835 acres. The Land Trust Alliance has told me that we are for sure the biggest single land trust in Fairfield County and maybe in the entire state of Connecticut. Whether we're the biggest or the second or third, this is a lot of parcels and a lot of acres to steward. 5 of these are co-steward with the town. 17 are private landowners who have conservation easements on it where we're responsible for stewarding. And in 97 of these, over 440 acres are owned outright by the land trust. So I think everybody should be very proud of the magnitude of what we do here. In 2000, as you just heard, in 2020, we received a donation of $300,000 from the Offit estate to relocate his barn to 183, and we're going to do that, and it's in progress, and we're going to name it after him. If anybody wants the details of our financials, they're available on our annual tax return, which is Form 990. This is available to the public, but also if you want to request a copy from us, we'll be glad to send it to you. We don't put it on the website. We don't throw it out there in the social media. But certainly if anybody would like a copy of it, we'll be glad to provide it. Are there any questions about the financials?
Okay. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you taking the time to let everyone know what we're up to and how our financials have never been as good as they are. That's fantastic. Allow me to advance the slide. Oh, there we go. Okay, so moving on to the last two items on tonight's agenda, I'll give my executive director report. That moves right into our stewardship report, followed by some closing remarks. A big hello. My name is David McCarthy. I've said that, but I'll say it again for people who have joined late. I am the executive director of the Wilton Land Conservation Trust, and I came here last June from the town of Brantford, where I served as their inland wetland agent, tree warden, and did a lot of community forestry work there. I have a master's of environmental management degree from the Yale School of the Environment. For the past 12 years, I've worked in nonprofits in the following areas: community forestry, urban forestry. Oh, my screen just stopped sharing the slideshow. There we go. Can everyone see this now? Okay, great. So moving on, yeah, I've done work in policy and capacity building, strategic communication, climate change adaptation and resilience building, invasive species remediation, community greening and gardening, photography, filmmaking, and lecturing. And for about 5 years, I worked in homelessness, solving it systemically.
David, can you show your face?
Yeah, good idea.
I'm sorry, I've tried in the past during our trials, and it really interfered with how I presented on the screen. I promise I'll show my face at the end. I announced that in the beginning, but my computing power is a little limited, and I can't do both. I'm very sorry about that. Nonetheless, I'm very excited to be here, whether you can read my face or not. It is smiling. Okay, so you've heard from our executive committee, but I'd like to share a little bit about who we are and what we're about. So the board of the Land Trust is really comprised of a collection of environmentally conscious volunteers. They want to improve the environment and build a culture around conservation. Together, we work toward a vision of healthier forests, cleaner water, improved habitat, more pollinator habitat, and better trails. And we love bees. We also care about what you think, and we strive to create a community feedback loop so that we know how we're doing and we know how we can do better. As Mike said, for our land trust, we have a lot of area. Not only that, we're always looking for more area to conserve that's of conservation value. So if you want to leave a legacy by donating land, just give us a call. We're only able to advance our mission because of our membership support. With an annual membership drive that spans from October to September the following year, currently we're just about 5 months into this giving year. And new membership is at an all-time high. We're at 56 new members so far. Welcome, thank you. We have a lot of past members that have returned their commitments to conservation and renewed their memberships. Welcome to you and thank you. As you can see, we still have a decent amount of families to reach. With about 6,600 households in Wilton, we've nearly scratched the surface with just about 5% of families reached on membership. There's definitely some work to do here, but it's an opportunity to reach more folks, connect with their interests, and inspire further support for conservation in Wilton. So 2020, what a year. Through the challenges of COVID and the power outage of a century, we worked hard to advance our mission. It's because of our members that we were able to continue doing what we love: conserving nature, stewarding land, building community, and working to advance our mission. We were able to achieve some major milestones in 2020, some of which you've already heard, like forever preserving 183 Bitchfield Road. We hired a new executive director, yours truly. We expanded our community outreach and leading to new partnerships. We recognized 2 Wilton High School students for their environmental excellence. We magnified our efforts to engage with Wilton's youth and connect them with nature, including the development of 2 new youth programs. We organized work days, AKA what I've recoined them as Stewardship Sundays. We've developed and ramped up our communications, including the launch of a new website that's getting information added daily. We're reaching more folks on social media, and we even started sending out newsletters to keep our members updated and better informed. If you haven't received some and you'd like to, please subscribe on our website. As you've already heard, in March of 2020, we purchased 183 Ridgefield Road. I would really like to reiterate our thanks from the Bauer Family Foundation, the Feber family. I believe it's Feber, maybe it's Fiber. I've never heard it said out loud. The many generous families in Wilton, the strong will of the Wilton community, the Connecticut Conservation Community, and the State of Connecticut OSSO Grant Program. Thank you all so much. So what did we save? Well, we saved a place of scenic beauty with fascinating geology, diverse land cover. It has 11 acres of a meadow that's right in the middle of the pollinator pathway. It's really a fascinating and rich resource for the greater Wilton community to explore and enjoy. Even more than just land, I believe this outcome saved hope. Hope that land can still be preserved in Wilton. Hope that people can come together for that which they believe in. And hope for a greener future. 183 brought together people over nature, and that's a beautiful thing. And what's fantastic is it's going to continue to do so forever. So what's next? As you've already heard, we've got some educational partners coming our way, and we're really looking to do some ecological restoration and to make it a centerpiece for our community and the wider community. And if you notice down there, the last bullet is more. we really want to hear from you. You know, we want to be a reflection of our community. You know, what would you like to see more of? What would you like to see happen? What are your ideas? Please reach out, let me know. I made a virtual tour of 183 as part of our conservation conversation with the Connecticut Land Conservation Council. That's a whole lot of C's. It's on our website. I highly recommend checking it out. It covers a lot of what we saved and has a lot of really cool drone photography. And again, as I said, we hired myself as the second executive director. Picking up where Donna left off, I believe my role here is to listen to our members, get to know them, meet our partners, and bring the latest science together with the board's vision to develop and implement new and exciting opportunities and conservation efforts. I am new to this town, and I really do want to hear from you. I want to cross-pollinate with you or your organization or your neighborhood. Together, we can work to expand outreach, marshal new resources, and enhance outcomes. I really mean this. Like, give me a call. This year, due to COVID, oh wait, I skipped the slide. I apologize. There we go. Sorry about that. So I do want to take a moment to tell you a short story. Within my first week, I received a phone call from folks over at the Drumhill NSDAR. They were requesting a stewardship work over at the Comstock Hill Cemetery. And we started talking, and soon that developed into a community work day where we melded our two communities together. Since then, we've cleaned the cemetery twice in 2020. Moving forward, this has become a recurring partnership, joining our communities together over a common interest, which is stewarding the environment. There's always room for a new idea and a new partnership to be had. We have a lot of land to work with, and if you think there's a way we can co-create something great for the community and the environment, let us know. This year, due to COVID, the Wilton High School Assembly was held online, but to create a more tangible experience for our award recipients, we held a small ceremony at the Spencer Rice Preserve. We've also launched a new internship program and a new seasonal youth program. Brett Gilman and Sarah Schneiderman chose the Wilton Land Trust for their Wilton High School Senior Interest Project. This year, together, across 3 preserves, they conceived, designed, installed 3 biodiversity stations. Inside the derrick enclosures, they planted over 1,000 hyper-local native flowers as part of the Ecotype project. This is an amazing step to demonstrate what Wilton could look like when covered with native flowers. Now more than ever, we're enhancing and expanding our opportunities for Wilton's youth to engage with nature and practice conservation science. In 2020, we created these 2 new seasonal roles, the Field Ranger and Open Space Steward, and a 13-week spring-fall internship. Our first Field Ranger was Brett Gilman, Wilton High School senior, featured on the right. Brett worked really diligently to improve trails, the meadows, and the forests that we all love and cherish. He's assessed almost all of 119 parcels, creating really cool index cards that tells us what's out there. And he was our Edan Capel Award recipient. Our first semester-long intern was Eli Grass, a Wilton High School junior at the time. Eli worked hard to help us advance our mission by engaging our community, and he was really great at that. He led educational workshops and some stewardship Sundays. Eli was also our junior book award recipient. So at this point, I just want to say thank you, Brett and Eli, and that it was an absolute pleasure working with both of you. In the short time that I've been here, I've been thoroughly impressed by the youth's passion, drive, and knowledge of the environment. We want to inspire the next generation of conservationists. We're working to expand and develop opportunities for our youth to do just that and to build a better relationship or maybe a new relationship with the outdoors. There was an amazing turnout this year from youth, from the Scouts and from Wilton High School. And this is just a tiny sliver of what they've been able to do. On our Stewardship Sundays, we take our care to the road. I guess that's a bad expression, but where the rubber meets the road with how we care for our land. We're doing everything we can to enhance our protected natural, historical, and cultural resources. The Land Trust really does depend on its volunteers to keep our preserves healthy and accessible. If you're interested, please let us know. You can sign up on our website. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter. This year, we had a total of 5 awesome work days with about 10 to 18 folks at each, which is a huge step up. In 2020, Wilton turned up for nature. It was a blast. Thank you all. To commemorate the season, I created this video here. It demonstrates the passion that I'm describing and really commemorates and solidifies the work that was done. It's on our website. Venture on over and have a watch of our community action. I'm hopeful to make this a staple moving forward. So if you want to be in one of the videos, sign up for our Spring Stewardship Sundays and be remembered forever. So what's next? 2020 is in the bag, and we're moving forward with some bright and encouraging initiatives for 2021. We're committed to dramatically improving the quality of our protected open spaces and building a community around nature. But we really do need your help, your experience, your support, your leadership. If you're listening to this and thinking about getting more involved in our community, you're 90% there. Just give me a call or an email and let's talk. 2021 is going to be an exciting year. Here's a snapshot of some of the work that's to be done and a little bit that's ongoing. As you know, we broke ground at 183. We'll be continuing our youth opportunities and our Stewardship Sundays. We're planning some hikes with the Woodcock Nature Center. And we're continuing, we're working with our neighbors on some major ecological restoration projects. One of which ongoing, as you've already heard, is the Offet Barn. Again, another special thank you to the Offet Estate, as well as Rob Sanders, the architect, who is continuously donating his time and services. This barn has an exciting history, and it's really a privilege to be able to write its story for the next few hundred years. It's gonna be awesome, and it's gonna be beautiful, and I really think it's gonna make for excellent photography when walking around on the new grounds. In 2021, we're going to continue doing what we're doing as far as connecting with youth. We really feel as though that we're helping young people gain the knowledge, skills, and the motivation to be effective civic participants. And we want to encourage them at the young age to help bring their environmental values to public decision making. Thanks to our membership support, we've been able to continue our youth opportunities, and we have plenty of need. So if you're someone who's interested in interning or in doing some sort of volunteer work, let us know. Stewardship in 2020 is going to be pretty big. We're working on some stewardship at the site scale. So what does this mean? It means we're working ecologically to restore several of our sites, more than just what a dozen or a couple dozen volunteers can do. So we've initiated conversations with folks in and around the Henderson Pond slaughter field about doing some pretty big turnover or some pretty big ecological restoration. At the Gregg Preserve, we're in the beginning stages of a grant to eventually, hopefully, start to take out all of euonymus and replant it with native trees and shrubs. This spring and fall, we'll also be continuing on our Stewardship Sundays. So if you really want to be out there and get in one of those videos, I highly encourage you to just reach out. Email should start flying around for those in about, I'd say 3 to 4 weeks. Sorry, I just need a sip of water. So there's a lot of new and exciting things happening at the Wilton Land Conservation Trust. I really am proud of what we've been able to do and how much our community has empowered us. I'm excited for what we're working on and for a bright future for the Land Trust and for the Wilton community. In some of my closing remarks, I'm gonna take a moment and get a little philosophical, ask myself some rhetorical questions like, what is the purpose of our mission and what does the Land Trust boil down to? And just because I like the number 3, I've kind of reduced this down to 3 philosophical purposes. I strongly believe that we're in the business of inspiration. Conservation and open space is what inspired me to get a career in conservation. At the Land Trust, we want to inspire community and get people excited about conservation. We want to influence the community and then be influenced by that excitement, a negative feedback loop that leads to an improved environment and a stronger community. It may sound silly, but I believe we're in the business of making smiles. It really makes our day when we see Instagram posts of happy families smiling because they're exploring nature out on our preserves or hiking one of our trails. Our work enhances outdoor opportunities for the Wilton community to enjoy and creates opportunities for connection, recreation, and just happiness in the outdoors. Lastly, we're definitely in the business of nature. We're here to support wildlife, habitat, food and water, and our forests, they are in need of help. And we're here to really help to restore them, to bring back what nature had intended for our wildlife. Our forests are their home. Our wetlands are an endangered habitat that help filter our water and reduce flooding. And our meadows feed the very start of the food web. So it's in our purview to not only conserve land and build community, but to think about what nature is using that land for. We're in the business of protecting public lands and open spaces and conserving natural resources and becoming more climate resilient, connecting people with nature and ensuring that the environment is there for future generations to explore and enjoy. And we really can't do any of that without you. I cannot express a thank you big enough to all of our members. Thank you so much. You fuel and empower us. You sustain our mission, and you allow us to continue doing what we're doing. So thank you for your commitment to conservation, for believing in the Land Trust, for investing in our community, and for fueling our work. Thank you. So at this point, I'd love to hear some questions. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my camera back on. There we are. Sorry about that. it made the slideshow a little more fluid without having my video, but I'm here to entertain any questions from anyone, and feel free if you thought of something for one of our previous speakers to go ahead and ask them as well.
Can you get rid of the screen share?
Yeah,
Great,
how's that?
much better.
Okay, don't be shy. The floor is open.
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Kevin Minto. I work for a nonprofit turtle and tortoise conservation organization, and I'm very impressed with what you guys are doing there, and I'd really like to contribute if I can. While I may not be able to contribute financially, if you guys are open to setting up a program, we're happy to volunteer our time and doing educational talks on turtles and tortoises that are in that area. Well, turtles, no tortoises, but turtles.
Nice. Yeah, send me your information. If you go to our website, our contact information is there. I'd love to talk with you further about that.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
If you are too shy to speak online or in this public forum, you could also send any question at any time to us via email. At this point, if there aren't any questions.
No, Bob Russell has to have a question. I mean, Bob Russell always has a question. We'd love to hear from Bob Russell, but where is Bob Russell? He's left the screen. And I see Gail has joined Frank. Thanks God.
You're on mute, Frank.
You're on mute, Frank.
Hey, to the building committee, when do we think we're going to finish the barn?
June, July timeframe is
Yeah.
what we're looking at. I mean, weather permitting, but yeah, we're pretty comfortable with having things framed in and fully finished for that phase 1 effort.
We'll have a ribbon cutting ceremony.
Absolutely.
There's Bob. You're back.
Bob, I said that no meeting can go without a comment from Bob Russell. I mean, my God, he's a legend, a legend. So Bob, you have to put you on the spot here.
Just unmute.
So much pressure for Bob.
It's a lot of pressure for
Have to
Bob. I know,
unmute.
but I think he can rise to the occasion.
Have to unmute first. Well, I'm so pleased to see the activity up at 183. As you probably know, I knew the Schlichtings pretty well. And Ann Schlichting lived in that house her entire life to age 93, 94. She worked in the village market. A lot of you probably don't remember that. She was the chief cashier at the exit of the village market for 40 years, from 1941 to 1981. And she never married. She inherited the house from her parents. And it was a wonderful old mansion. You've seen pictures of it. It was in terrible shape. I visited with her several times, and she at one point thought that she could give some of that land, 13 acres, to the land trust. And the trouble was that she had no other assets except for the property. And she relied on her nephew and niece to keep her alive and operating in that house for all those years. And they didn't have any other source of income except for the property, same as Ann. So they convinced her that she could not afford to give away any of the land, that it all ought to be maintained. And so it ended up that she died and the property was still there and it almost got developed. And you probably know that whole story. And the land trust, thank goodness, was able to step in and preserve it. So couldn't preserve the house. It was a beautiful building, but it would have taken millions of dollars, probably 2 million, to fix it back up to the way it should have been. And I could see people shaking their hands and agreeing. It was too bad to lose it, but we had to lose it. But at least we now have the property, and that's a great asset. And I'm glad to see what we're doing. So there.
Bob, can you describe the property or the house? I mean, excuse me.
Oh, the house. Well, you've probably seen pictures of it. I have a picture of it in my book, the Wilton book. It was a 3-story house with a full basement and a cupola up on top. And I was in the house from top to bottom several times. The Schlichting family bought the property in 1895. And in the summertime, they rented it out to other German friends. And the family, the Schlichtings, would move into the basement and let the renters live in the house for the summertime. They were all German connected families. The house just deteriorated. I can remember going through and watching paint peeling from the walls and the ceilings. And
Hey, Bob, was it would you call it an Italiante design? I mean, there's several houses like that.
Well,
Still in Wilton, aren't there?
there are only 2 left in Wilton that I know of. One is the one across from the town hall that's been renovated. It has a cupola type top on it. The other one's up in Georgetown. It's a very well maintained house of the Italian style, 1860 style house. But those are the only 2 left in Wilton that I know of. There weren't that many houses built in Wilton in the second half of the 1800s because they had all the old houses from years before, and the population in Wilton hit a peak about the time of 1860. And when the railroads came through and went out west, guess what? A lot of people from Wilton got on the train, went west. And so there were abandoned homes all over Wilton in the I'd say the last 40 years of the 19th century. And so there weren't new houses being built. And that's why this Italian style architecture is very rare in Wilton. There were some others that were torn down. I think the pictures are in my book. There was one down on Chestnut Hill that I don't remember. Adrian Offinger would remember it. Adrian's a town resource if you don't know him. And of course, some of his property is now preserved too, thanks to the help from the land trust.
I have a question.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Ann Gosly-Jovovich. I grew up here and then moved away and have come back now. Can
Hi,
you?
Ann.
Hi, Bob. Can you put on your website some information about what we should put in our own gardens for pollinators and things? Because all of us doing that, I mean, I managed with about 5 swamp milkweed to my grandson and I even got 2 monarch caterpillars and raised them and let them go. So, but I need help on knowing what are good pollinators to put, and also something to speak on these invasive vines that are just dragging down. I mean, I live right in Wilton Center, and when you just walk on River Road, the areas you haven't cleared, I mean, they're just, the trees are just sagging with these vines. I don't know if that's part of your job or not, but.
Hi, and I'm Donna Merrill. I really can help you a lot with the pollinator questions that you have. I work on the steering committee of Pollinator Pathway, and we have a great website. Maybe the best thing would be for me to connect with you by email, and we can just go from there. I can help you with invasives and planting plants and that kind of thing.
Good. I would really enjoy.
Thank you. And to your point, Ann, yes, home landowner education is something that I plan to help coordinate and work on in the background. I do envision over at 183, once it's fleshed out and open to the public, we can host things like how to take care of invasive vines. How do we support pollinators? What does that look like? I know that the Woodcock Nature Center is planning on doing a lot of educational tours there, and we're going to be, the whole point is to not just show you what the environment is, but how to bring a more healthier environment into your backyard. And that is, as Donna knows, the connectivity between the pollinator pathway and well, your backyard. But and to Bob, I mean, I would love to make Bob a regular part of our scheduled program. We should have had him on the agenda.
David, can I just put in a pitch for Wilton Go Green's upcoming talk with Donna Merrill, Be a Part of Nature, Not Apart from Nature, on March 4th. And we're going to be talking about a lot of these issues. And we're so pleased to participate in any way that we can with the Land Trust. So you can go to the Wilton Go Green website and sign up for all the events, including the great one with Donna Merrill.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
The garden club is where I got the pollinators that I put in. They sold me 8 little plants. I didn't know they were going to grow to be 4 feet tall, but it was wonderful. So they one spring had this sale, and that really helped.
Well, I'm also on the garden club, and I sold you probably those little plants.
Yes.
And we're hoping to have a sale again this spring. And we will have some native plants, as always, at the Wilton Garden Club. It's always Mother's Day weekend.
Mother's Day, okay.
Does anyone have any questions for myself or any of the presenters here tonight, or any questions in general? No?
Well, I can make a comment if I could, David.
Okay, hi.
Probably almost none of you know me. I'm the son of Alex Levin, and I went to the Wilton school system. I had Dan Capel was my biology teacher.
So did I. So did I.
A trajectory of environmental concern and activism, and we were involved in giving you guys the easement. The reason why I wanted to speak was because I live in California now, so I'm not in Wilton all the time, but I get snapshots of Wilton once or twice a year, and have since my mother died in 2015. And with those snapshots, what I've been able to see is the incursion of euonymus in the town. And I find it deeply discouraging. It's a battle that I'm losing on my property, and I think it's a battle that the town is losing. So I just wanted to take advantage, since I had this captive audience, to suggest that that focused remediation in that area, I think would be highly educational for a lot of people in town. And I also think it would be very important, because basically what I'm seeing on my land, and I'm sure it's happening all over town, is that once that stuff gets root, it's the end of your understory. Your forest stops evolving. So I'm very concerned about it, and I hope it's something you guys can embrace more fully for education and also for improvement.
Thank you, John. Yes, so that's one of our major, I turned off my video. I'm sorry, I'll try it again because I was getting a slow internet connection. That's something we intend to work on at the Gregg Preserve. So when I was first brought on, that's one of the first sites I visited. And I had never felt so defeated by nature in my entire life until I visited the Gregg Preserve and just felt literally engulfed by this euonymus. And as I mentioned earlier, I'll go into a little more detail now, but we have started the initial phases of a grant process with NRCS, the National Resource Conservation, National Resource Conservation. I forget the name of the acronym, I apologize. But what we're looking to do is get a forest management plan together, and that's going to be happening sometime in the spring, which will have steps A to B and X and Y to Z to get the euonymus out. Now, how actionable is it? How feasible is it? We're going to be assessing that internally. And if the best thing that comes out of that is we say, all right, let's implement a piece of this, maybe 100 square feet or 500 square feet, even as a demonstration to see what can and can't be done and what are the milestones and the challenges to do that. then that's what we do. But my goal is to create some sort of plan to start to tackle that, not just on Greg, but throughout our preserves, and to create eventually we're hoping to create some sort of 30 to 50 year strategic plan that includes large scale restoration across Wilton to get that, or across Wilton's conserved lands, to get that in motion. And it's very easy to feel defeated by it, but if we can shine a little light and bring a little hope by even doing a demonstration area, I would feel like that would be a major accomplishment. And I know we spoke on the phone about your easement, and I would love to see if maybe that's something we could also shine a light on over there. So we are working in the beginning phases of that. And I would love to, I will be keeping you all connected and informed through our newsletters as we develop that out further. But John, if you want to connect on a more personal note and see what we can do out there, then let's do that.
That's great. And by the way, I had no idea you guys are so significant among the land trusts in the state. Maybe you've got some influence in Hartford to try to get the sale of euonymus banned. Some states have done it, and it's I mean it's unbelievable to see you can still buy it at the nurseries.
You can still buy barberry at the nurseries.
I got plenty of that too.
Thank you.
Thank
Please,
you.
I know we're going to connect soon about monitoring the easement, but let's also add this to the conversation.
Perfect. Bring it on.
Sorry, I'm going to stop my video again. Everything started freezing. That's better.
Time to wrap it up, David.
I agree. If we don't have any further questions, I guess it's over to Mark.
Yeah. If there are no other questions, or is there any other business that needs to come before this meeting? If not, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Yes.
Is there a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Good job, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, David.
Hi, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay tuned.